Hi, and welcome to the very first episode of Tool Talk TV by Expert Trades. My name's Adam Callow, and this is the show where three trades professionals are going to talk, debate, and potentially argue about their favourite tools and what tool is best in class. Now, a quick disclaimer. On this show, we have sponsors, but none of the trades on the show knew about the sponsors ahead of time. So they've had zero influence on the tools that they've brought here today. So in traditional game show style, let's meet the guests. Let's start at the end. Dave, introduce yourself, buddy.
All right, I'm Dave Armstrong. I run a plumbing and heating company in Harlow called DA Gas Heating and Plumbing, and I'm here today to compare our tools.
No better intro than that, Lee.
I'm Lee Woodgate from iGas Heating Limited, domestic and commercial plumbing, heating and gas specialist based in Hertfordshire.
Hopefully that's not your domain name, but carry on.
I'm Dave from DCB Plumbing and Heating. I do gas and oil, but for some reason that's not an issue here.
Throwing bones already. Thanks for that, Dave. So, guys, just so you know what to expect on the show, we're going to go through 5 or 6 tool categories. And no one knows what tools these trades are bringing, apart from Harry behind the camera. The categories on today's show are Flue Gas Analyzers, adjustable spanners, drills, pipe slices, screwdrivers, and then one tool that these trades cannot live without. Let's get into the first segment, which is Flue Gas Analyzers. So the first segment is Flue Gas Analyzers, because we have 3 heating engineers on the show. And the reason we chose that as the first tool is because we put a poll inside the Expert Trades Facebook group. If you are a trades professional, head over to Facebook, search Expert Trades and join the group. So I guess passing straight across to yourself,
Yeah.
you bought an analyzer with you.
I brought an analyzer with me.
Let's have a look at your tool. That's a weird statement, but let's carry on.
Well, so this is the Kane 458. I did a lot of research when I first went self-employed into what Flue Gas Analyzer I was going to have. I ended up with this one. So main reason I got for this one was they had a service contract. So every year it goes back, I think it's £85. It comes back calibrated, serviced. It's a fixed fee, includes postage. And it has an electrical cell rather than a chemical cell. So when using it, if something goes wrong, you can't actually damage the chemicals inside. So that was one of the main things that really stood out to me.
Okay.
And
For someone that doesn't know analyzers, what does that actually mean?
So when you're testing a gas appliance,
Yep.
be it oil, be it commercial, be it whatever it is that you're doing, you put your probe in, because on a lot of the newer boilers, you can't see the burning flame. So the way you test a burning flame is to see what actually it burns. So if it's burning incorrectly, it will show you the wrong PPI or wrong ratio. So you know, obviously as a trade professional, what the numbers mean and why they mean them. And then from there you can calculate what's a good burn, a bad burn. And obviously if you go to a boiler you've never been to before, if it's got a broken seal or a broken flue, you'll find the bad fluids that come through. And obviously they do have filters inside, which we'll get out and show, which obviously are changeable.
Yep.
And that just obviously protects it a little bit more than what's inside. But my old boss had one of a different make, and that had a chemical cell. And
What
that
make did he have?
He had an Anton.
Okay.
And that had a chemical cell rather than a digital cell. And that was forever having new cells putting it on every service.
Okay.
So his service cost became quite expensive.
Okay, super. I see a lot of head nods over there, which is interesting.
So just simply because of that, that's why I looked into it. I didn't know there was more than one different cell. I just assumed Anton was one of the best makes at the time. We're talking 10 years ago now.
Showing your age here.
Yeah, tell me about it. I feel it. And that was just, so when I went on my own, when you're going to spend £1,000 on a brand new kit, with everything included in it, you want to get the best one that's going to do you right, never fail, and if it does fail, you get it back quick on a right price.
So would you be recommending that to someone?
100%.
Perfect.
100%.
Let's pause it there. Lee, over to you. What analyzer have you bought with you?
I've also got a Kane. Mine is the previous model to one that Dave's got. Main reason for me is they've got a HQ in the town that I live. So when it comes to calibration and stuff like that, I give it in the morning. I normally get it back by lunchtime.
Okay.
Some people in certain areas have to send it off, get a loan analyzer, things like that, if there's ever a problem. I've had this one, I think 7 years. No, that's probably a bit optimistic. Probably about 5 years. Never a single issue with it. Comes in, and another advantage for me personally, I actually know someone who works at Kane in Welling Garden, who's like, I've known him since I was a boy. Do you know what I mean? He used to drink him in Nan's boozer going off on one. But he, for me, it's I get good support. Do you know what I mean? I know if I need it, I can get it in there straight away and get it back exactly the same day. And in that way, I also get a good price on my calibration. I'm not going to lie, but it's not a deciding factor of why I bought it. I didn't actually know Kane had a base where I lived until I went to my first calibration. I bought it because I was actually sort of raised and trained on this analyzer anyway, so I was used to using it. Tried an Anton for one that I had when I worked for a company. Didn't really like it, didn't like the setup, didn't like the screen. Screen's a bit smaller. This, for me, is easy function, twist and turn, and it does everything really that I need. Another good point, it's got quite high tolerance, going back to the different cells. If you put your probe in too early into the flue, the readings can be quite high and go off the scale, and it can be quite damaging to other analyzers, where these are a bit more tolerant. They've got quite a high tolerance when they're higher readings.
Okay, nice. Dave, over to you. What have you bought with you?
Went for something different. No, I didn't. So I've got the 458, same as Dave, and exactly the same reasons. Was when I worked for a national firm, we were using Anton, and it was the earlier ones, but they were all forever being sent back before calibration. Always going back to have cells replaced. If you did put it into a bad ratio, high readings, you'd literally be standing outside for 10, 15 minutes waiting for it to come back down. And it might not come back because it would damage the cells. So I went on reviews really, but I have got the 455 as well. And I needed another one. So this is the newer one, better one. And but I love it. I use it for tightness testing, reading pressures. And like you said, the selector on it's brilliant. The battery life on it's really good as well.
It is.
I can't remember the last time I charged it. It just comes on every time.
So normally at this point in the show, we'd open it up to get a bit of debate about which tool's best. But you've all bought Canes. I guess one thing for me, obviously not a trades professional, not an installer, is what is the actual difference between the 458 and the 455? Why would you upgrade?
Well, I'm the same. I actually used to have that one.
Okay.
And there was just a deal on in my local Graham's that this one, if you traded that one in, you got this one at an excellent deal.
But do they do the same thing? What do they do
I
differently?
think your one's got one or two more extra features.
There's a few extra things on here. So the difference is, you maybe won't be able to see it on the camera, but there's some little lights just down here. So instead of having, I think it's
a backlit
4.
Screen,
no, you've got 4.
These here you mean?
So he has 4 lines. This one has 6 lines. So you actually get 2 extra lines of information on the same screen.
Okay.
That was one of the things. The other thing it has an AUX button. So again, one of these ones over here. That's something you can actually change to what you want. So, all jokes aside, obviously me doing oil, I have different readings for me certificate.
People are wondering why is that a joke that you do oil?
True. Yeah. We'll get the backstory later, I'm sure. I can actually have that set to different readings than what I would have on my normal ratio setting, and it helps me to distinguish when I'm doing a gas boiler. I have the reading set at one thing when I'm doing that, because I'm looking for different efficiencies and different things and excess airs that you don't need as much when you're doing your gas for readings reasons when you're actually writing it on a pad. It just means that I can add what I want in there and flick between the two dead easy to create the off-tech pad, so I can add everything in it there and then, rather than having to print things out and then go through it and read it. It's there ready for me.
So because all three of you have an experience with this product, part of this show for me is one about what's good, but what's bad, or let me change the word bad. What could Kane improve on this, in your opinions?
To be honest, I'm going to add another good point. Just because I want to.
You've got a commission check coming on.
I don't think that's what he's after.
I'm going to add another
You can
good
only
point.
the pound signs, like the pound noise in the background. The till
So when the 459 comes out, I'd really like one. So if you want to send me one, we're in. No, I want to add another good point, actually, before I get into bad points. And I mean this in a good way, because Lee said about living in the area where there is one. Obviously, I don't.
Yep. People notice with the accent, don't worry.
Of course. So
They've got one in Manchester.
Yeah, they do have one. So this is where it goes. It goes to the one in Manchester. But obviously, I don't take it there. I don't live in Manchester. Not too long ago, it was about 3 weeks before its service, it failed on me, which is the first time it's ever happened on any one of them, and it's just one of those things. I sent it on the Monday at dinner time, and it got back to me before dinner time on the Wednesday.
Wow, okay.
So the turnaround, even though I don't live close and I was sending it, the turnaround was absolutely unbelievable.
So I guess that just keeps you, not to use the phrase, but on the tools in terms of you're not
100%.
missing service jobs.
Yeah. I had to cancel a few services because obviously it failed. It's just one of those things. It's the same as if the van had failed.
Yeah.
Things fail, it happens. But the fact they got it to me again on Wednesday meant that I could catch up by the end of the week. so I could literally rebook everybody in by the end of the week.
I've heard about service from Dave and Lee. Dave, have you ever had an issue with service, or how do you find the service from Kane?
I don't send it back to Kane. So
Okay.
there's a company in my town called J&W, and literally I could walk there from my house. So and they're brilliant. So that's where I buy them from. That's where they go back for calibration, repair, anything like that. They've and they're really quick. It's the same. It's next day.
It's all about service, isn't it?
Yeah, they understand. They're understanding that you need that. That's a vital bit of kit.
Yeah.
And you can't work without it. So I think they're understanding.
100%.
So what needs improving, guys? When Kane watches this video, so I think what's super important is Kane's going to be watching this video. They're probably going to be sharing it across the company, and they want some Feedback.
If this, I've obviously got the older model. The only thing for me, the light on it's not great. You can put a backlight on. It's not the brightest in the world.
Doesn't stay on.
Doesn't stay on very. I was just going to say that.
Is that fixed in a newer model?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No,
If you're
it
saying the
doesn't
same
stay
No, it
thing.
doesn't stay on
Okay.
very long, but it is bright enough so you can see what the readings are if you're in a bit of an awkward spot.
Okay.
I think the only thing really I could say that would improve it is if it turned on quicker. Because I think it takes, is it 90 seconds
Yeah,
from when
but
you
I think
press it
there's a
on?
reason for
Is that
it.
the air-
It
is that
got
the air
to
purge?
initialise.
Is that purge
Yeah,
fresh air?
that's right. Yeah,
Okay.
so as it's initialising what the air you are in, so obviously clean air.
Gets it out.
Yeah, and then you can do a base reading from your exact area. So there's no point calibrate it in London and then using it in Newcastle because you might have slightly different, so your readings, you might have slightly
Does that
different.
calibrate every single time it turns
Every
on?
time you
Yeah,
turn it on.
fresh air
Purge the air
purge,
every
and
time.
then
So
30
I think-
seconds when you turn it off.
I was going to say, I think it's only 90 seconds though, isn't it?
It is, only 90
Yeah, 90
seconds.
seconds
yeah,
on, 30 seconds
It's-
off.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not long, it's not something that really bothers me, but I suppose that is literally, if I'm nitpicking, that is the only thing I could say, is if I could turn it on and it just be on,
Yeah.
then that would be better, but it doesn't really
Feels
bother
like
me. 'cause-
technically that might not be possible
Oh,
because
no.
it's got to clean the
Yeah,
air.
exactly.
if you're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
a grand scale of things, the shortest job you're going to use this for is a service,
Yeah.
which is
Half an hour
half hour to
minimum.
an hour in
Yeah.
it as a minimum.
As a
So
minimum.
90 seconds in context is not a lot. It's
No.
not a lot of time. I turn it on, leave it outside, do something else, put it into high rate if you've got to. By the time you've gone back out, got your analyzer, bring it back in,
Yeah.
the boiler's ready and up to temperature anyway
Yeah.
because you're meant to let it stabilise. So,
Okay.
I just try and tighten with something else. It's not, but I agree, when you set 90 seconds, I think it feels like an
Yeah, it
eternity
does.
sometimes, but it's really not.
The only other thing I think with the kit, maybe a bit lighter.
Yeah, that'd be
because
nice, I
you're
suppose.
obviously
Yeah.
carrying around quite a bit of weight all the time.
Like in your
And-
service
and in your
bag. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And
Because it does go in on, to be fair, that's true. It goes in on every job. Or literally every job.
The
It's
iPhone,
always
the
where
bag
you win
as
it.
well, to be fair. The bag,
Yeah.
every bag I've had, the straps broke.
Yeah,
and
they're
it's
all-
a simple
yeah.
fix
Or they
again.
rip.
But to be fair, to spin it, when I sent it in, they gave me a new one. I didn't even ask for it. But I think that's more to do with the guy I knew rather than
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never had that.
being that national. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Because
fair
it
enough.
you're
cost
probably
me
going to get in the sack now.
Yeah, I can't say his name. Cheers, Dave.
All right, so guys, this feels like you guys would all put, if an engineer is watching this right now, potentially coming into the industry, you'd all highly recommend
100%.
the Kane.
100%.
I'm super interested to see what we've got. A segment later on in the show, which is called 7 Days With. All three of these engineers have had a TPI DC710 unit for 7 days, and it'd be interesting to see what you guys think about that. Let's move on to the second product, which is the adjustable spanner. And we're back for the second tool that we're going to talk about on Tool Talk TV, and that is the adjustable spanner. So this time we'll start at that end. Mr. Dave Armstrong, what tool have you got?
The Barco, or Baco, some people call it, Barco adjustable spanner. It's my go-to spanner every time, and they come in different sizes. They do one a little bit longer, and then I think it's about a 12-inch as well. The pros on it for me are the wide jaw and how thin they are as well. So it just means you can get it into tighter spaces.
Yep.
Gives you a bit more movement, but I don't know. It's just something I've always had. They don't wear out. This is probably about 3 or 4 years old. It's quite rusty, but it's still moving very freely. Some of them, after a while, you're like blistering your thumb trying to turn it. So this has never seized up. So that's why I use it.
Nice one. Mr. Boyson, let's jump over to you.
Mine's a little different. So mine is just a random little cheap B&Q Magnuson's small one. I used to have the Baco, the 4-inch. It's tiny.
Yep. How
But
did you get that one?
I acquired it accidentally.
Okay, beautiful.
And actually, it's one of the best accidents I've had because it's the sort of thing that's small enough.
But before you move on, people are watching this now thinking, how do you acquire a tool accidentally, Dave?
it
Just
just
fever Northerner.
Yep.
Yeah, so it accidentally got wrapped up in a dust sheet.
Perfect. Tell me why you like it. You go,
It was free.
red as a...
No.
How long have you had it?
A couple of months at most. Not very long. And it's just simply been, it was just one of those things that I've always got an adjustable spanner in my pocket. I normally actually, I don't use the Baker ones, I use the Monument Masters ones. And it's same idea, it's just got a wide jaw, it's got thin, and it fits everything from a 22mm nut, which is about 30 to 32 millimeters wide jaw,
Yep.
and 15mm nuts, obviously, which is 24. But a lot of the small ones that I've found don't actually do what I class as a 15mm compression nut, so 25 to 24mm, whereas this does. So it's small enough, but still has a wide enough jaw,
Okay.
so that when it's in my pocket, if you just go and do a radiator or something like that that's got a 15mm nut, it's just always on me.
Okay.
You find more.
Like multi-purpose for you.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. It's not that it's special, it's not that it's old, it's not that it winds really well, there's literally nothing like that to it. It's just one of the only smaller spanners I've found
Okay.
that has a wide enough jaw to do them 15mm nuts.
And what was the brand again?
Magnuson, I think it's just a B&Q. Just a B&Q cheap, they're probably for note, probably a fiver. It's
Nice, but it's doing the job.
But it's just something that's doing the job and seems to work as it needs to.
Perfect.
So
Mr. Woodgate, Lee, what have you bought?
I'm another Baco man myself. Same reason as the analyzer earlier. The reason I first started using it is because the guy who trained me had them, and you just get used to using a certain thing. I did actually have my first ever, like when you buy your first set of tools when you're young and all that, I had some like that, the chrome ones. And what I find, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but like the jaws are actually longer, like they're higher up off the actual shaft itself.
Yep.
And that, for me, they don't slip off as much. You use these, they can slip off and you end up with no knuckles all the time. That's what I think the biggest plus of these, like Dave said, with a wide jaw, but also because they do two types, Baco. One's with a shorter stubby end.
Yeah.
These are the longer ones, slightly more expensive, but like I say, they just give you a better grip when you're actually turning it. And I generally couldn't use anything else. I've got, same as Dave, I've got a Monument set, but it's actually the pump spanner. So it's the big-headed one,
Yeah.
and it's brilliant for that. That's what it does. The only negative I find, I did have another normal-sized 6-inch Monument, but the wheel goes the other way. And because I'm so used to Baco,
okay.
you wind it a certain way, it'll open. You wind it
Yeah.
back, it closes.
Sort of what
But
you use.
Monuments,
So
it's
weird.
opposite. So you're thinking, you got your hand in a boiler, you're really in a tight spot. You think you're unwinding it, have a look, and it's closed, and you think, and it's just that little bit of frustration. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you're like. You could just quite easily look at it, but sometimes you can't. You've got your head or your hands up behind a sink or something, anything like that. And I'm so used to them. I love them, and I couldn't actually use another spanner.
Nice
I
one.
couldn't.
Dave, over to you, because you guys have got the same tool.
Yeah.
If you lost that today
Yeah.
and you couldn't acquire one again,
yeah.
what would you go and buy?
Probably another Monument, because they're exactly the same as that, but I've just found the Monument ones to be, they're a little bit thinner on the jaws. You do have the long jaws, which they are a better spanner when they're that size. I only brought this one to be a little bit different because it's something that's always on me,
Okay.
rather than just being a regular spanner that's used all the time. Obviously, my bigger ones, because it doesn't do 22mm nuts, because it's not big enough.
Okay.
But my normal one is the Monument ones, which is pretty much, they look exactly the same as that.
Yeah. The only thing again with a Monument,
But again, it's just what you use, isn't it? I bought one because it was on offer in one of my merchants, and then
That's it,
I lost one, and I actually just ended up buying another one because I liked how it worked. It never seized up. It's just been good. So if I was going to buy another one, actually, I'd buy a Monument one. But that's just been good for just that little.
Doing the job right now.
Yeah.
Say, Lee?
just one small thing about the Monument. The prongs are actually quite sharp.
Yeah, they
So
are.
there seems to be more of a pointed edge on them. So if you put in your bag that way up, it's a silly thing, but you stick your hand in, it's quite
Goes up the end of
sharp
your
on your
nail.
hand. It
Goes
sort
up
of
the end of
stabs
your
up.
nail, yeah.
These are sort of slightly more rounded on the edge. So it's not. I know it's something a bit silly, but you can end up with a cut just from sticking your hand in a messy bag. Do you know what I mean? So keep your bags tidy.
Stay safe. Guys, any other comments on this? It feels like, well, normally, again, we...
Only to
Dave,
go
what are you going to say?
back to Magnuson as a make, taking it away from spanners slightly.
Yep.
But I did have a set of Magnuson screwdrivers years ago, and they were great.
Yeah,
And
same.
again, cheap brand, but actually do make quality tools.
Perfect. Guys, this is, again, normally we do a vote at the end of the show, but we know which way the vote's going to go. You guys have basically both got the same tool. So Baco, Barco, however you pronounce it, you guys would recommend the Barco adjustable spanner.
Every day.
And actually, I would, because they're a good spanner.
Okay.
They're one of the tools that's been sort of renowned for years, isn't it?
Yeah.
They've made great spanners for years and they still do, so I can't argue with them, to be fair.
So guys, they heard it. We've had the Barco adjustable spanner as a favourite for the heat engineers on today's show. Next segment, we're going to be doing drills. Now, we didn't specify what type of drill, so let's get into segment 3 and hear what these guys have to say about their favourite power tool. And we're back, and if you're only just joining us for this segment, don't forget to head over and watch the full show on Tool Talk TV, where you can see the debate between analyzers, adjustable spanners, and product number 3, we're talking about drills. We haven't specified which drill these engineers are going to bring in, so let's find out what drill they've brought in, what brand, and which one they consider best. Lee, we're going to start with you.
It's quite heavy. I decided to bring in my SDS, Milwaukee SDS fuel. The reason I chose this, much like the other boys, I'm sure we've got cordlesses, impact drivers. The thing I like about this is it's quite multi-use for me. So I use this for literally anything, obviously SDS related. So just drilling hanging rads, hanging boilers, everything else. But it's also got hammer, for obviously hammer only, so when you want to chisel out, stuff like that. And then I use it for coring flues as well. Whereas I used to have just the cheapo Titan at a screw fix, is about 60 quid. And you know what, it does a job, but then you've got to run a lead out. This is so easy, just get it out. And as long as I found, as long as you've got a good core on the end, this will eat through most bricks, it really does. And I've had this, again, this is probably 3 years old now. Touch wood, never let me down. Good cost to start with, and it's actually not that heavy. You can use it one-handed when you're doing rads and things like that. And yeah, it just does exactly what it says on the tin. You get good support from Milwaukee. The warranties are really good. I actually had a Milwaukee Hoover, failed within 2 months, sent it off and had a new one within 7 days. And
wow, nice.
You know, it's really good backup. I mean, you're paying for it. They're not the cheapest on the market, but in terms of value for money, I don't think there's any better. And it's a nice colour as well, to be fair. But, yeah.
Lee, while I've got you, quick question, out of curiosity, what cores do you recommend? What do you currently use on the end?
I used again, I started off with a cheap set, so I had a cheap Titan drill, cheap Erbauer, I think it was, set, and again, it done a job. And I didn't know much different. My fitter had Hilti sets, which were about £2 for the set, like with the drill and everything, real big layout. But we was doing a boiler a day in London, so you're getting your money back very quickly. I don't do that sort of volume, so I never really invested too heavily in it. Then one day, the Erbauer one snapped, so I went to Screwfix, bought a Mark Christ one. And it comes with a dust extractor, so it literally screws in the end of the core.
Yep.
Put that on your Hoover, and then there's no dirt either. And
nice.
Generally, it must have took about 6 minutes to get through this wall, whereas compare that to the Erbauer, it was probably half hour. And at the time, I'm thinking half hour's all right. Do you know what I mean? This literally flew through it. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, what have I been doing all this time, sort of thing. So yeah, Marcus for me, really good core set for the money as well.
Perfect. Mr. Boyson, what have you got?
I'm going to go on the exact same vein, and the only reason I bought this was because I've had to come on a train today, and it was the lightest tool of my drill set to bring with me. But yeah, no, I'm going to literally mirror everything that they just said. Milwaukee fuel, so it has to be the fuel section because that is the expensive one. That is the one with all the metal gearings. That is the one with everything that is just
the top that they make. Isn't it? Brushless.
Yeah, brushless.
So does fuel mean brushless? I understand brushless is important.
They do 3 sections. I think they do the DIY section, they do a brushless section, and then they do the fuel brushless. Okay. And I think the main difference is there's something on the circuit board which goes to your M18 batteries, and it makes them use less power.
Yeah, a bit more of a kick to it.
Yeah, you get more kick to them.
Last a bit longer.
Okay, like more efficient, basically.
More efficient, better power. Everything about it is just the best that they can make it. And they're actually one of the only companies I think that don't make anything higher than an 18 volt battery.
Okay.
A lot of other companies do the 36 and the 40 odds and the 70 odds for your outdoor lawnmowers. They don't do that. You've only got the M18, so they've perfected their 18 volt stuff, in my opinion, to be far superior than everybody else's, because it's also designed to be on the more heavy duty stuff.
Perfect, like it. I'm hearing really good things about Milwaukee as a brand overall. Mr. Armstrong, what have you got at the end there, mate?
Slightly different, but I've got Makita, but an impact driver, just like Dave. I went for Makita based on recommendations quite a few years ago. I used to be at the Walkman, and then when you're on site watching other people with other kit, everybody seemed to have Makita, so I tried their stuff out, and it just felt superior to what I was using at the time. So invested in Makita. I actually had.
Can I just ask? Sorry to interrupt. Can I ask you a question? What makes a drill feel more superior to another drill? Like when you said DeWalt to Makita, what was it about that tactically?
Yeah. I feel there's 2 different drills. Both expensive drills. Both
I'm about
top
to
of
get
the-
ripped in the comments on
No,
YouTube, by the
just
way, guys.
what-
They're saying you should put these drills down, Adam Callow.
Don't chip them out.
Keyboard antis are. I'll be honest, Dave. For me,
Do you not?
as someone that doesn't use these, make a nice thumbnail for the YouTube video.
Yeah.
But
The thing is with them,
it's just a little bit
between
comfier,
Makita and Milwaukee, personally, I don't think there's a huge
No,
difference.
I don't. I have to
But if
agree.
you went from Milwaukee to say I've used Bosch, which I don't think are as good. DeWalt again. I mean, I had a slightly smaller powered DeWalt, so I had a 14 volt set.
Yeah.
But their old batteries before they went lithium on DeWalts were big, bulky, horrible
Yeah.
things. They weren't nice. And then my impact drive, you can feel it. It was obviously lighter as a DeWalt because it was only 14 volt. But comparing it side by side with a Milwaukee, like you can feel the difference in the power, how
Yeah.
easily it drives a screw in.
Makes
things like
And
that.
that's the same across the range, I think, like whether you've got an SDS or a combi drill as well.
Yeah, definitely.
You can definitely feel the difference. And even when you're like, if you're drilling holes in wood or screwing screws in, you can definitely
Notice
tell
it,
the difference.
yeah,
And
100%.
why else do you like that? Sorry for cutting you off, but I was super interested.
that's right. This is, I don't know, this is my just like go-to drill. Obviously, I use it for spade bits as well. You probably should.
Yeah, same. I do the same. Yeah.
Quite often, I'll just bang a spade bit in it, and to go through this would be very quick.
Yep.
The combi drill used to be something I always carry around, but
Yeah.
they seem to have like phased that out.
I'm the
Really.
same. I
Never
very
really
rarely use
get
a
that out of the
combi
van.
drill. Very rarely.
I'm different. See, I use my common drill all the time. I have this in a set, so I have a box which obviously I have an apprentice, and he'll just say, "Get the drill box." The
Yeah.
drill box will have the charger, have 2 batteries in, the drill, and an impact driver.
That's interesting. So those guys aren't using much combi. What's the different tasks that you're using a combi or an impact for?
Well, I use it for the same things as what Lee uses it for.
But when are you using
hanging,
your combi?
hanging boilers. So
Okay.
obviously, 8mm is that's just the size of my brown plugs.
So you
8mm.
SDS with it then?
No, well, it's not SDS. I'm just drilling as normal. Yeah.
No,
so
but that's what I mean. You're using
Oh
it
yeah,
to
sorry,
plug
yeah,
in a wall.
hammer drill. Yeah,
Yeah.
using it as a hammer drill. So plugging
Okay.
into walls, and you can buy really good a Bosch drill bit, the little blue ones.
Yeah.
They do tiles. They're multi-purpose. Chuck it in that little drill of mine, and it's obviously smaller than that because it's about this size.
Yep.
Just a little bit longer in its length, but it's pretty much the same as that. So they're just sort of side by side, sit in one box together. They came as a pair when I bought them because I bought the kit with that and grinders and the works. I've got about 7 different tools. That's all Milwaukee.
I think the thing to take into account though is the price as well.
Yep.
Because
100%.
that you're comparing 2 products, but that is
Fast. Yeah, a lot more expensive.
But
Yeah.
saying that, the screw fix at the moment are really cheap on Milwaukee,
they are.
like the combi drill.
Okay.
You can pick it up for less than 200 quid now,
Yeah.
fuel.
Okay.
Well, the key thing that
Really come
again,
down.
outside
Really
of
come
looking
down.
in, I see there's loads of good deals on the bodies, but it seems like all the cost is in the batteries.
Well, that's where you get
100%.
your guts from. I got anything, this is only a 3 amp,
Yeah,
so that
see-
won't last very long.
And I've got
They go
4
up to
in that
like,
one.
what do they go up to, 12 now?
They got to about
I've got a 9,
Yeah,
I know I've got a 9 amp, and that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
the difference. You can feel it. They last longer as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the 3 amp, you could be. It might if it's only got because I've got obviously battery indicator on mine.
Yeah,
So if
same.
that's only got 2 bars, I personally probably say I might be lucky to get a Flue out of
Yeah.
it. Whereas
Okay.
if it's 2 bars and a 9 amp, I know it's going to make it through. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? No problems at all. So that's one thing to take into consideration. You can buy again. These batteries are on offer at the moment. I think in Tool Station, but they're only the 4 amp ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So slightly less power. You're going to be changing them a bit more if
Yeah.
you're doing heavy site work.
So out of curiosity, what impact drive do you use? What brand?
Milwaukee, all my
All
All the
guys are
batteries
Milwaukee.
will interlink.
And
So
what would
mo-
you guys
most people
say
would buy
if
a
you
kit.
guys were the reps from Milwaukee right now, and Dave walks in and he's holding the Makita? What are you going to say the key difference is why you should buy that over that?
Just performance for me.
Yeah,
I've
same.
had the kit. I had the 7-piece Makita before I even done plumbing. I had that, and to be honest, the only reason I got rid of it is because it got nicked. So I probably would have kept with it because I wouldn't. Why try anything else?
Yeah.
But then again, I'm part of a few gas groups and things like that, obviously expert trades group. So you ask people for recommendations, and everyone will give you their own input. Like my old fitter was a Bosch man, but looking at the difference, his cordless stuff, he was buying 36 volt batteries. So it's probably double the cost
Yeah.
for the same drill and the same performance.
Okay.
This is a bit more lighter. Like his old big Bosch drill was quite a weight to use. You're sort of half putting it on your shoulder if you're coring a hole. Whereas mine, I can literally, it's so easy. So
Yeah.
it's not like you can lift it in front of you. Do you know
No.
what I mean? So
One thing I don't think Makita have got right is the cases. I actually don't like the cases, like the boxes that they come in.
Oh, the carrying cases,
Yeah.
not the body. not
yeah,
the
sorry,
okay.
yeah. So your drill boxes and things like that.
Oh, what do you mean?
The plastic is, I don't know. It's quite, have you seen them?
yeah.
Yeah, I've got an old one. Yeah.
Yeah. So the newer ones are like quite I don't know. They're very boxy shaped.
Yeah.
Quite bulky. You have to buy the trays that laying them separately, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
I mean, it's a way of
like-
keeping the cost down, I suppose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you
you're
can
gonna
make a
keep the
million of
cost
the same
down,
box
yeah,
and then
absolutely.
just change the inlays.
Yeah.
So you'd buy a box and then you'd buy the inlays to fit that, so it would lay inside, or it would fit
that would annoy me.
the
Yeah,
SDS
bug
to
the
lay
life
in,
out of
me,
that
for
would.
example. But I don't like them. They're stackable, so they'll click together. But the clips on the side are like quite tough. You really have to snap them open.
It's funny
And what are the
because
boxes like for these things?
I don't know because
To be honest, I keep all my power tools in a van vault now.
same. I just
Underneath a false floor, so all the thieves watching. Unlucky, my son. And then if I'm going on site, I'm looking into at the moment Milwaukee pack out. So it's like a trolley, stackable trolley.
Yeah,
But at the moment, I've just got a
seen those,
Milwaukee
they look really
bag.
Yeah.
I take in what I need. But if I'm doing an install, for example, first thing, like is again an old rule from my old fitter: most expensive stuff off the van first,
Yeah.
and the most expensive stuff back on. So load out all my power tools after I've sheeted up, and then you get all your materials and everything in afterwards. But always get this stuff off first. So now I know what I'm going to use on an install. Like I've got the Milwaukee multi-tool, which is great for floorboards and stuff like that. So that comes off. This comes off. Impact driver comes off, and the radio. And normally that's what I'll use 90% of the time on an install is them 4 or 5 tools.
Nice.
So,
Let me ask you guys just one last question each wrap up. If you lost it today, would you replace it with the same tool or something else?
2 reasons. Yes, A, I like it.
Yep.
B, everything else uses the same batteries.
So it's like
So
part
I
of the
would
system for you now.
in some way, you'd have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You're part of the
Unless you wanna
ecosystem.
replace all
Because
your-
how
Unless you want to
expensive the
replace it
batteries
all or start replacing different chargers with different batteries.
Lee?
same reasons, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, I love it anyway.
Yeah.
And again, the cost is actually coming down a bit.
And so the
But
quality
yeah,
done.
if I just lost one tool, it'd be stupid of me to go and, because I've lost one, replace the whole kit because you've got to change all the batteries.
Makes sense. Dave?
Same, however. So if I lost just that,
Yep.
I'd go and buy another one because
Yep.
obviously it's a whole kit. But if I lost the whole kit, then I'd probably look to upgrade
Okay.
and pay the extra now. Now, I'm, yeah, that's what I'll do now.
So it really is the fact that it's not just one drill, it's the whole pack, the system, the drill, the
Batteries.
bodies, the batteries that sort of tie
Well, the
you
things
all in.
they make now, like
Unbelievable,
cordlessly, it's
innit?
ridiculous.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can't buy as a Milwaukee. And like, I've been looking at the chainsaw just
Yeah.
to cut the hedge at home. Do you know what I mean? You just think, like, what's the point? But
Yeah.
it's just a nice thing to have. Do you know, we all love tools. We all love buying stuff.
Yeah.
I think they've even got a cordless Flymo for cutting the grass. You just think,
I even had a coffee,
That's-
little coffee maker in the
Yeah.
van.
Oh, okay.
Stick the battery in, it makes you a coffee.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Here's a random question. Just sort of thought, if someone is watching this and is like new to the trade, a lot of these, there's a lot of cost in setting up and getting some new tools.
Oh, yeah.
What's the budget drill that you'd recommend? Like, let's just go with
Probably
impact drivers.
Probably
I'd agree.
Makita.
Yeah.
That
The
was
Makita.
My first one, believe it or not, was a Makita. It came
Okay.
as a set with an impact driver and a drill. I had nothing else. Everything else was corded because I was trying to be cheap 5 years ago when I set up on my own. So it was a corded grinder. It was a corded SDS. Everything was corded because it was cheaper. It
Yep.
was probably all from Screwfix. It was all like eBay stuff because it was cheap. And it was only, like you say, 2 or 3 years ago that I went to a tool fair looking to upgrade with a good few £1,000s in my pocket
Yep.
to spend on that day, knowing I was going to get a good discount
Yep.
for buying it all as one, and I came up with about 8 different tools, loads and loads of batteries, the works. But my dad bought me it when I set up on my own. He was like, I've always wanted to buy my son a drill.
Nice.
He walked into Screwfix or B&Q, wherever he bought it from, and he bought just a couple of £100 set, came with 2 drills, 2 batteries, and he said, Merry Christmas, son.
Yeah, got you
Get
started.
your son on your own, you know, I know you're going on your own.
Nice.
And that lasted a good few years. It never failed. It's actually still at home. It's my home drill. It's in the office at home. If I'm going to hang something on the wall, it's just ready to go. But for day-to-day use to take a lot of hammer, this is unbelievable. I didn't know.
So
It was the same as you were saying about the core drilling. I didn't know that was slow until I upgraded to these. And then it was just, whoa.
But if someone's just getting started, your recommendation would be
100%.
Makita.
Yeah, they're so solid. They never break
for
down.
me, I would. It depends on what you're doing.
Yep.
Of course.
So if it's like, for example, if you're on a site, it's like new build, for example.
Yeah.
You don't really need that much guts. Everything's plasterboard. Do you know what I mean? So there is cheaper options out there. I mean, I know there's a Romanian lad I know who's got all Panasonic gear, and for the cost of it, it is. But I think some of it's almost too powerful.
Okay.
Like the impact driver is like, wham! It's really got some guts.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, sorry. Getting carried away. Yeah. Wow. But yeah, like
We're going to make that
honestly,
into a GIF, by
yeah,
the way.
I don't think there's really any crap gear out there anymore.
Okay.
So everything's got a certain standard to it. Even your Ryobis and that, like, which is a real cheap end of the scale, it will still do a job. But it's just as you get more and more doing the same thing, if it makes your life easier and saves you time, don't matter what it costs, buy it if you can afford it. Because you get the money back in time saved.
Like it. Dave?
Disagree, but never mind.
Yeah.
How do you disagree? Tell me.
I think that's the one to start with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go anything lower than that. So Ryobi's, Panasonics, anything. If you're going into a trade, then it's got to be that level, I think.
I think when it comes to cost as well, though, I think you've got to buy as good as you can at the time and buy what you need at the time.
That's
so
it. Don't go and get a 10-piece set.
there's absolutely no point buying a full kit of all the stuff in when an Axor will cut a metal flue just as well as my
Well,
grinder
why are you
does.
so passionate about that? Why do you have that opinion that you shouldn't go lower than that?
I just think, well, I've used cheaper drills when I started out, and all you end up doing, they last a year, 18 months, and then you're replacing them, and
False economy.
and then you go back and buy that same. You go back and buy that same cheap drill again. I think you're just on a loop of buying cheap, and I think, the reason I said I'd upgrade to that now is because, I feel like I'm probably
established.
Established, and
you can afford a bit more. That's the thing.
yeah.
It is you can if it's the same with anything. My first van was an R-Reg yellow Berlingo that I bought off someone at college.
and you still got it.
Do you know what? If it didn't break,
Take it outside.
if it didn't break, there was no reason to get rid of it. But it actually broke quite early for quite a rare fault. So and then again, it was my old fit. I keep harking back to him, but he was one that he used to try and drum it into me from the off. Get good gear. So he swore by his Transporter VW.
Yeah.
Absolutely obsessed with it. All his power tools were Hilti. And like when I say Matt core drill's probably 300 quid with a battery, his core drill was 1,500 quid.
Okay.
That you plug into the wall, fair enough. But even trying to lift it, Jesus. But like it used to eat London brick. We used to, one lad had a Makita corded core drill. Took him 7 hours to get through this brick with a flue. Next day we was in the same block of flats. He drove from where he was in Clapham to Brentford, their head office, bought it there and then come back, and he went through the floor in about 6 minutes. Bang, straight through.
Wow,
So
difference.
you saved your money. Would you do that every day for a week? You've got your money back.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing
Totally
is
agree.
a lot of the tools that you now use, you wish you'd got sooner. Because
But would you
To some
appreciate it?
I'm
That's
going
the
to
thing,
say, to
right?
some degree, yeah.
Might
You've
not
got
be
to
able
have
to
that
afford it.
rubbish tool
I guess you've got to go
sometimes.
through the cycle
to
of...
appreciate the good
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah, because it's like now you care more about the time, it sounds like, that it takes
100%.
to do the job.
Yeah. And obviously the batteries make a big difference. So before, like I said about mine, was all corded gear. And you would run cable, you do this,
Yeah.
and again, you don't know any better. My old boss he'll be nearly 70 now. But he just had all this stuff for years. It was all, none of it was new, all of it was old, it was all lasting. He'd send his drills back for repair rather than buy new ones. But it was all corded gear. So when I set up on my own, it was, well, that's what I've got to do. Just assume that's how I was taught, that's what I'll do. And it's only as I've had to work on my own for myself doing a job, that extra 2 minutes getting the cord out of the van, plugging it in,
You just try
getting
to
the
make
lads
your
out.
life easier, ain't you?
Stupid little things.
If it means you can
become an
get home
annoyance
half
on a
hour
day-to-day.
earlier,
Bam.
and get paid a bit sooner, and get home before it's dark and see your kids before they go to bed.
Exactly, 100%.
Worth every penny.
Yeah, when I set up on my own, I didn't have kids. Now I do. You want to be home at the time.
On that note, love that. Guys, it sounds like, and you can disagree with me, Dave, if you want to, but if money wasn't an issue and you had to reset the whole system, you guys would still stick with Milwaukee and you'd move across.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Guys, you heard it here. Let's move on to the next segment of the show. Hi, and welcome back to Tool Talk TV with our segment, Talk Tools to Me. Now, obviously, I'm joined by one of our guests. If you haven't watched the full show, you can go and watch it on YouTube. But we have Mr. David Boyson from DCB Plumbing and Heating. And we're actually being joined by one of the members of the Expert Trades team, Mr. Matthew Ford. Matt, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Matthew. I'm the website services manager here at Expert Trades. I basically just help run all the websites that we build.
Can you look more excited by it? That'd be fantastic. So let me introduce what we're going to do on this in case you're just watching this segment alone. So as you can see, Dave
Wishes he was dead.
cannot talk. We have 10 cards in front of me, all with heating engineer words or phrases on them. And there's a bit of a competition going between the three guests on today's show. So Dave is going to have 90 seconds to read these cards out to Matt. Matt has to guess them. Every correct answer is a point, Matt. You can pass if you're struggling, okay? Then we have the bonus card. This is worth 3 points. So, can I have 90 seconds on the clock?
All I need is drooling here.
Oh, we got 90 seconds on the clock. In 3, in 2, in 1, let's go.
Gas safe register.
Gas safe register.
1.
I know it. You won't get that. I know it. No, you won't get that. You won't know what that is. Hashtag ask her onion.
Hashtag ask for monument.
2 points on the clock.
DCE, plumbing and heating.
DCB, plumbing and heating.
Glad you got that one, Matt. 3.
2. Copper height. Copper height.
Copper pipe.
Yeah!
4.
Onion asters.
Monument masters.
Yes. iGas.
iGas.
Yes.
Nice.
Axie 800.
Baxi 100.
Matt's nailing this.
Read in
Keep it in.
Read in written.
Made in Great Britain.
Yeah.
All right, take that back. Back on the clock. Back on the clock. Word for word.
Read in written.
Made in Britain.
There we go.
DA gas, plumbing and heating.
DA gas, plumbing and heating.
Nailed it. Matt, you did a great job. You did a fantastic job. We have the bonus
okay.
card.
So there's one you didn't get.
You only have one attempt at this.
Yeah.
Speak clearly.
So what I'm saying, just
Yep.
this.
Yep.
Right. I love rock.
Is he allowed to repeat?
He's allowed to repeat. You're
Okay.
only allowed to guess once.
I love rock.
5.
I love luck.
Oh, I love rock. If you know anything about Mr. DCB, he is a huge rock fan. Matt, you've been an absolute legend.
Gotcha.
Harry, can you please put the scores for David on the screen right now?
I'm drooling.
You are drooling. Guys, carry on. We're going to get Lee Woodgate from iGas to play Talk Tools to Me next. And we're back with round 2 of Talk Tools to Me. We have Lee Woodgate from iGas and we're joined by Catherine Smith. Kat, do you want to quickly introduce yourself to that camera, who you are?
So, hi guys, I am Kat, or Catherine. I'm the Communications Executive at Expert Trades.
So just so you guys know the rules, there are 10 cards here. You have 90 seconds. Kat's not allowed to see these.
I can't take him seriously right now.
You look like you're in pain. You've got 90 seconds on the clock. If Kat doesn't get one of them right, put it to one side. If you've got time at the end, you can revisit it, okay? We have a bonus question. After the 90 seconds are up, okay, you'll be given this card, okay? You only have one guess, okay?
Yep.
You can say it as many times as you want, but this one is worth 3 points.
I only have one guess.
On the last question.
Oh, okay.
On these, as many as you want. Can we get 90 seconds on the clock?
Oh no, I'm scared. I'm scared.
That's what happens when you catch the producer off guard. We are ready in 3, 2, 1. Go.
Gas safe register.
Gas safe register.
Hold them higher. Hold them higher.
Stay.
Show me.
Okay. Manometer.
Manometer.
Yes.
That's the only person that's got that.
Ask for onion.
Ask for monument.
Yeah, go on.
Come on, speed it up.
DCG. Plumbing and heating.
DCB plumbing and heating.
Cat.
He's gonna dribble.
Copper height.
Copper pipe.
I'm gonna sit here. Shit. Monument masters.
Monument masters.
iGas.
I guess.
Daxi 800.
Baxi 800.
Easy. Made in Britain.
Made in Britain.
Yeah. DA gas, heating and plumbing.
DA gas, heating and plumbing.
And we think we've got a record. You nailed all 10 in 52 seconds. So we have the 5. By the way, you need to get this right, okay? Because this is worth 3 points. Are you ready?
And
This
I can
one.
only guess once on this one.
You
right?
can only guess once. You can get to
I
say
mean,
it as
I've
many
guessed-
times as you want.
Okay.
So you can get to repeat it, but make sure you're confident before you say it. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Don't dribble on the cards.
These aren't waterproof. Okay?
Go.
Are we ready?
Oh, it's shocking.
It's okay. It's okay.
They can't tell on the camera, don't worry.
Go.
No, we're not editing any of this out. Are you ready?
Go.
3, 2, 1.
Fuck's sake.
For fuck's sake.
That's not the guess.
My height is not an issue.
My height is not an issue.
Absolutely smashed it. Guys, you saw this. The best the next team can do is draw with this pair.
Boyson.
At the end of this, we'll reveal what they've won.
I have to work hard to understand him anyway.
And finally, we have Dave Armstrong, who's teaming up with Danny Batch. Danny, do you want to give a quick introduction to who you are?
Hi, I'm Danny. I look after all things verified. I'm sweating my tits off with 3 jumpers on because I've got to be branded.
There was a requirement to be branded on the show. So, you guys know the rules of the show. Dave, Looking fantastic, by the way.
I'm going to drill.
The funny thing is the longer we leave it, you'll actually start to drool, is what we started to do today, Boyson. Can we get 90 seconds on the clock? So don't forget, you've got to guess it. You can pass it. Any that he doesn't get, put to one side, and you can revisit at the end.
Here's all heat engineer.
And we have, maybe, and we have one bonus at the end, okay? That can be after the timer. That's worth 3 points. You ready? We got 90 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. You can hold them.
Gas safe register.
Gas safe register.
And I heater.
Lift them up, don't let them see them.
And I heater.
And the heater.
And I heater.
Pass it for now.
Ask an onion. Ask an onion.
Ask for monument.
Good use of the set.
DCE cleaning and heating.
DCB plumbing and heating.
Yes.
Nice.
Cocker height. Cocker height.
Cock of height. Castle height. Yeah,
That
pass.
pile.
Onion asters.
Monument masters.
Yes. iGas.
iGas.
Actually 800.
Baxi 800.
Aid in addition. Aid in addition.
It's Talk Tools to me, it's not charades, just to point that out.
Aid in addition. DA gas.
DA gas.
Yes. Right.
We've still got time on the clock. Show me the timer, show me the timer. You still have 15 seconds.
This is a good one. And Ironator. And
A.
O heater.
3,
No heater.
2, 1. Whoa, did he get that? You got to keep that in. You have a bonus. We'll check that in post-production. We have one bonus. This is worth 3 points. You are allowed one guess. You're allowed to say it as many times as you want.
Okay. I la Lila. I la Lila.
I'm hearing something very different, but it wouldn't make sense.
I la Lila.
What are you hearing? Say what you hear, Danny.
I'm hearing I love Layla.
Oh, so close. Sadly, Danny, it is I Love Lola. This man, avid dog walker. We've got some scores. Harry, can you do me a favour? Can you put the scores on the screen right now? And then we'll cut to find the winner in just a second. And there you have it. That was the first ever episode of Talk Tools to Me. Let's reveal the winners in reverse order. So number 3, we have Dave Armstrong from DA Gas Plumbing and Heating. Dave, who were you paired up with?
Danny.
Whose fault was it?
Danny's.
Perfect, there we go. So we have Dave Armstrong in 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have... Don't pretend like you don't know.
TV!
I appreciate the effort. We have Dave Boyson from DCB Plumbing and Heating, which can only mean we have one winner. Lee Woodgate, iGas. There you go. Lee, who are you paired up with?
Cat.
And I think you actually guys got through all 10 within like
53 seconds it was.
Absolutely nailed it. So guys, here's what we're going to do. You've all been a great sport. It was a load of laughs. We're going to actually send some tools out or some materials out to Lee. Lee's a member of the Tool Talk Testers Club. You'll find out what he got and you'll see what he reviews it as in an episode coming up in the future. Let's move on to the next segment where we're going to talk about these guys' favourite pipe slice. Hey guys, welcome back. We're on tool number 4 of Tool Talk TV. What happened just off air is these guys were whispering to each other to try and work out if they had the same tool. We're on pipe slicers, a hugely important tool for any heating engineer. We're going to throw it over to the whisper himself, Mr. Dave Armstrong. What pipe slice did you bring with you, sir?
I've gone for Monument.
You brought 2.
Brought
Nice.
2, 15 and 22 mil, most common sizes that I use. Used various brands over the years, from Rothenberger to Nerad, various others. I don't know why I've stuck with Monument. Probably because I don't know. Like, they're very similar to Rothenberger, but they've lasted a lot longer, so that's probably why.
Just out of curiosity,
Yep,
they look very old.
they are very old.
How long have you had those?
Well, I'll say that they look very old. They're probably about 3 years old, 2 to 3 years old.
Okay, fair enough. Do you ever change the wheel in those, out of curiosity?
He's had the same cutter for 17 years. He's had 20 new handles and 15 new wheels.
So Dave, why do you pick Monument?
Monument are probably one of my go-to tools anyway, hand tools for the plumbing trade. So part and parcel. My dad used them, so as well. It was just, I think it's just you get taught with something and you kind of stick with it. So same.
Nice. Lee, what have you brought with you?
I have got Monument again.
Okay.
Same sort of thing as Dave. I have tried quite a few. Even Baco actually makes some as well, little orange ones. I think they lasted generally about 3 weeks when I got them. And they come with a Baco bag that I bought. So there's obviously a reason, probably a bit cheap and crap. Nipex I've used. Nipex ain't too bad. I think comparing these alongside Nipex, the grooves are really sort of smaller. So it's not as easy to grip, I find.
When you say the grooves, you mean physically on the outside?
Yeah, so these are quite raised.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it on the camera, they're quite fat, if you like. Whereas the Nipex ones are really thin and lower, so it's sort of less to grip.
Okay.
But again, I'm not 100% sure why Monument, but I think it's a lot to do with obviously going to their factory. Do you know what I mean? They're really involved in sort of expert trades with us. I've met a few guys who work for them, Jamie and JC, and both really good lads. And I like to support a British company. They are like quite an old company, and like I say, I've been down to their factory. It's a really actually interesting day, and I like to support a British company if I can, and they don't let me down. These are really old. These have actually got my name on them, but I didn't want to use them, the ones with my names on. But I'm sure I lost the last pair of Saints. I started using these, and these are probably I got these the first day I met you, so probably about 3 years ago now, and still going strong. I've never changed the wheels. I hear some people that do change the wheels and stuff like that, but I just don't see the point in the cost of them. Just buy new ones. So,
Sound like Monument's perfect customer.
Literally, exactly,
Dave, how about
Well,
yourself?
I'm going to be really, really embarrassed here because yours look really, really old, and I had to replace mine because I actually lost them. So I look brand new.
He doesn't do any work.
So
Dave,
I don't do any work. No. But same again, Monument, and that it goes to show. So I've had to buy these again because I lost some. They went on some floorboards and just couldn't find them. Had to buy some more. I went and bought some more.
So previously you had Monument as well?
Yeah. I've had the Rothenberger ones. Before that was just because what was in a local merchant when I first went self-employed. Then when we met up with the Monument guys, I'd probably be a little bit less than you, maybe more like 2.5 rather than 3 years, probably like 2.5 years. I think they give me one of them, I think it was a 15mm, and it was that good, I went and bought some more.
Nice.
They also make some plastic ones, which are yellow and they have a full clip round.
Yeah.
I also have them in my toolcase as well. I find them, because they're a little bit thinner, they're a little bit smaller.
Like the full clamshell.
Yeah,
so
whereas that where you get
that.
your pipe in that one to twist it, the other one is you put the one in and there's no grip. You then actually, the wheel is on the hinge, you then slam the wheel into the pipe so that it kind of digs into the pipe immediately. Okay. They do crush it a little bit more, but they're smaller, they're thinner.
Yep.
So if you need to get them tight up to a pipe or you need to get it tighter in there, I use them as well and they're also fantastic. So both Monument and I have them both for different cases.
So who's actually visited the Monument factory then?
Not me.
Yeah.
All three of you? Okay.
I am.
Oh, sorry, you haven't.
No.
We'll have to get you down there. It's because you live probably the most northernly of all three. It's a big old trip.
I get that one a lot. I get that one a lot.
So just educate me, if someone's watching this right now and they're getting into the industry, like, what does make a good pipe slice? And I'm saying the word pipe slice, that's what you guys call them. Obviously, Monument call these an auto cut. I think pipe slice is a trade name. Probably going to get someone tell me I can't say that, but we'll find out. Wait for the legal letter on the door. What makes a good cutter for you guys? I think what I heard so far is like you love the brand. You love Monument as a brand. You like the team. You've gone down.
It's for me size, weight, durability.
Yeah.
And actually that it works.
Yeah.
Like these very rarely slip off. I find perhaps with Monument they might take a week to sort of wear in.
Yeah.
So at first they can be a little bit stiff, especially the 28mm. Cool. You get them in a tight gap. You sort of sometimes you need 2 hands to turn them, or get a set of grips on them just to turn them. Yeah. But once they wear in, they don't then wear out quickly. They sort of last once they're worn in, and they're comfy. I find that it fits well in my hand quite nicely. Some are, like I say, because of the smaller ridges, they're not as easy to get hold of, and some you'll find they're really easy to turn, but they bounce off the pipe. So as you get one turn, you think you bit, and it's actually started to score the pipe. Go to turn again, and it comes off. or it starts a tram line. So you'll spin it and you think this is taking forever to cut. Have a look at it and it's just gone wound down the pipe rather than actually cut.
Slipped and cut in a different spot.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Guys, this is one of those interesting ones. Again, like with the analyzer at the top of the show, we've all got the same one. Are there any improvements you'd recommend to Monument to make on this cutter?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think
I like the fact you've got the little hole in here for oiling it. I'm going to get some WD in there. You've got a little hole directly into the wheels.
You guys ever noticed that, by the way, guys?
I thought that was a vent myself.
I think you guys have been to the factory.
They didn't tell us nothing.
And actually, the other good thing about these that I do like is there's a separate little arm that you can buy.
Yeah, I was just about to mention
that
that.
slips
It's like a
around it,
ratchet.
and that's why you have the deeper grooves. So as you slip it round the side, you then use the arm, so you've got a little bit of leverage.
It's like limited access.
And it digs into the big grooves, so
Yeah.
it then pulls it round.
Sometimes you've got to put, if it's tight to the wall, I put my grips on them
Yeah.
and turn it with the grips.
Yeah.
They actually make a purpose-made arm that clamps on,
Yeah.
so you can turn it out of position rather than trying to, if you've got two pipes tight together,
Yeah.
you can't get your hand in to turn it because it's touching the wall. You put the actual arm on it and it just makes it really easy, saves your wrists and really
Nice.
good.
Anything else for you guys to add?
If they could make it ratchet. I don't know how easy or how hard it would be to do it.
What do you mean?
So rather than having to turn it, say you've got a small circle of where you can actually get your fingers in,
Yeah.
rather than having to turn it constantly, turn it backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard or easy it would be to actually make and how expensive, but I do think if you could buy that, it would be a good addition. Like even if it's a separate one that you use only when you need to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the only way I'd make these any better is if they had my name on them.
like
Like some other people.
I think
have.
you're going
Well,
to attend
get
the
your arse
factory.
down to Sutton, mate, yeah? We put the effort in, yeah?
Guys, so I think it's fair to say that all of you three would recommend the Monument Auto Cut if you're getting in the industry or whatever you're using at the moment. That's your pipe slice
Yeah.
of choice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect
by far.
thing. And I guess one thing for me is if you're just watching this segment of the show, one thing we did cover off at the top of the show, I know you can see the Monument brand in the background. None of these guys on the show knew that Monument were actually sponsoring this. The Monument Masters is a new brand of product that Monument are launching, but these guys were not influenced at all with the tools that they brought today. Let's move on to the next segment of the show where we're going to talk about screwdrivers. Guys, welcome back. We're on to tool number 5 of Tool Talk TV, where we're going to be talking about screwdrivers. We're joined by 3 engineers. And who are we going to go to first? Eyeball, straight away. Good eye contact, Dave. Dave,
Can
over
I
to you,
just say I haven't been first once yet,
Yes,
and
you
I'm
have.
feeling a bit left out.
No, you have.
No, I haven't.
You have.
When?
Can you
In
watch it back,
Milwaukee,
please, Harry?
Spanners.
Milwaukee.
He went to you first.
Milwaukee.
Oh, sorry, yeah. All right, only once have I been first.
Dave, let's start with you and let's make sure we never do Lee again in the beginning.
Be quiet in the corner.
What have you got?
Weira screwdrivers. So this is part of a set. They come in all different sizes, lengths. I switched over to these probably about 4 years ago, I think, 3-4 years ago, and I honestly think these are the best screwdrivers I've used. Previously tried or used Stanley mostly, probably, from an apprentice upwards, and then found these. I just found that these are really comfortable. The heads on them, they have like tiny teeth almost, so they bite into the screw. So if you've got, especially with into wood, it can be quite tight to get out of. Quite often I'll be on site with others and they'll have other screwdrivers, like, oh, I can't get this out, and I'm like, hang on a second.
Look at them guns, mate.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, yeah, but they just work. They work for me.
Yep.
I like this. I like the range. They do. I think it's three different ranges. So they do the white and black and the red and black. The white and black are for chrome screws, I think, from memory.
Okay.
So because with any other screwdriver, you take when you're doing it, you'll damage the chrome.
Ran.
Yeah. And the red and black, I think, are the insulated ones from memory. But the green and black are the ones I use.
Quick question on that before we move on to someone else, and we'll definitely move on to Dave, not Lee next. We're going to make him last on every bit moving forward. Why do you need one? This is, again, not an industry.
Yeah.
Why do you need one so long? There's a snippet for you. Dave, why do you need one so long?
Gives you. I don't know.
Did your missus tell you nothing, mate? Every inch counts.
Why you need one so long?
It's leverage, isn't it?
It's leverage. It's all about leverage.
But what are you doing in your day job that needs that? And again, just
But
not
if you
knowing.
just wound that screw in with that and
There
then
you go.
done it with a stubby,
Maybe we should try
you'd
it.
notice a difference straight away in how hard it is to get it in and out.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, you can
Leverage.
put more. You can put more behind it as well, and then with the longer ones as well, working in boilers,
Yeah.
toilet cisterns,
If you
things
need
like
to
that.
go through a small gap,
Yeah.
you can kind of like poke it through.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Every day's a school day. Dave,
Yeah.
over to you next. What have you brought with you?
Mine. Going for another little one. This is the Pinko finish, I think they're called. This is just one of the small versions. They come in
By who?
by Weha. Are we going to say it?
Weha?
Yeah. The reason I like these is they have a swirling head. So if you hold the head,
Don't show me, mate. Show the camera. There we go.
so these don't come in any bigger than this. They're only sort of all this sort of length. And the reason I like them is when you're doing electrics. So you can kind of keep your hand on the top, keep the good leverage, and still spin it because obviously the top moves.
All right, these are custom tables, mate. If you don't
Yeah, I
mind.
know that. Again, it's pretty much the same reason I was saying with the adjustable spanner. It fits in my pocket.
Okay.
I have a posi version of this and I have a straight version of this. The straight one is an insulated one, so it is yellow and red rather
Still
than...
VHAR.
Yeah, exactly the same. The reason I got onto these actually was the 3mm slotted slim, which is the bigger ones that you can get. They're the standard screwdriver. They was having some trouble with it, and I think if you put your name on the website and said that you owned these things, they sent me the slotted version of this, and this is how I even found what these were. Because I was having so much trouble with theirs breaking because of the slim size of them, they sent me one, and it was just fantastic. Just having the thing on the top, never seen it like this before, and I've never bought screwdrivers really that often because you don't. But I've always had the WeHar ones, and that is just different and interesting, so I thought I'd bring it.
Nice. Appreciate it. Lee, what have you brought with you, mate?
Again,
He's brought the best screwdriver.
Weha. The main reason it rhymes with my company motto, which is Yeehaw. I've been saving that for ages, mate. But and in all honesty, I used to have Irizolas. Bought my Irizola set probably 7 years ago. Really good screwdrivers, but end up just losing them. I changed tool bags and changed vans in between. I just kept losing them.
I've never heard. Have you guys heard about that brand? I've never heard that brand before.
Actually, I got recommended them by another commercial guy who I worked with quite a few years, Billy, and bought a set, and it was a really nice, good, comfortable set, every size. But literally nothing wrong with them. I just lost them all. I've got these most recently at a trade show. It was actually at Plum Expo at Ali Pali last year, and I bought them there. Just thought I'd give them a go because I had various different ones, all different brands. No real favourite. Bought these, had them since. This is actually my favourite. It's most used. You can see it's got quite a bit of wear on the actual head. But slight negative is the smaller terminal screwdrivers. They're very sensitive to sort of snap. I don't know if it's like I'm being heavy-handed, but if you've got an old gas valve, you need to undo the screw
Well,
on
that's
it.
why they started sending these. These are the screwdrivers I was on about. This is what that is.
Yeah,
the set
because that's
I
got
have.
a proper shaft on it, I suppose, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the smaller versions of them.
Yeah.
The actual internal inside where the red plastic is thin, especially on the slimline version.
You just want a thin head, don't you?
That's
all
the
you
thing.
want,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
a thin shaft.
Yep.
sounds like you both need some Weirers.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah.
Dave, have you ever tried VHAR?
Yeah. Again, good
What are
screwdrivers.
the key differences that keep you on Wearer?
Brand, I
Okay.
think brand. So I've got Wearer, Allen keys, socket sets, other bits. So I think I actually rate their range, all of it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, they are good.
Plus, just even comparing the handles, I think this has got a bit more about it, mate.
Ergonomics.
Yeah.
yeah.
so.
No, I do agree.
What other range do you guys have of WeHar? Is it like you like their screwdrivers but use other bits of kit from another brand?
Yeah, I've got actually, I'm not sure what the kit is. It's the Velcro pouch with it's got a handle, screwdriver handle with loads of different attachments in it, which is, again, it's really handy. I use it fairly regularly. But again, in terms of anything else, I'm moving more towards Wearer now. Like I've got the Allen keys, I've got a socket set like Dave has, and I've got it's only the Advent calendar set I got at Christmas, just as an Advent calendar. But even that, the bits in that are really good, and I haven't lost or snapped one yet in, I know that's only 4 months, but even my socket set, probably had that a year, still get every piece, and not one has broken it yet.
Yep.
Whereas if you compare it to the screwdrivers, I probably had started with 12 of these. The 2 smallest have snapped already,
Okay.
or just on the heads. But this takes a pound and it's used every day, and it's still, apart from the actual shaft being scratched like the outer casing, the screwdriver's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
To be honest, because I didn't know what you guys were bringing, I find it really interesting that 2 of you have bought Weehar tools, because I know that.
I'll be honest, I
obviously done
wouldn't
some
have known
work with them.
about them if it wasn't for Expert Trades.
Oh, and I would, because that set that you've got in your hand, you get, I think it's like 6 or 7 screwdrivers, all different sizes, posies, straights. I think in Screwfix it's about 25 quid.
Yeah,
And
so
it was
they're
just on the
really
counter
cheap
one day.
to
It's the
get.
reason I started using them. It was on the counter one day.
Yeah.
I'd walked in to go get whatever I was getting, and it was just like, oh, deal of the week, whatever. Then I was like, oh, go on, yeah, I could do with them. They mine are rounding, starting to round off now. So I'll just
Thing I think with Weir again, they're so well marketed, and it's almost like it's like a badge now. People buy it and they can't wait to post it online and tell everyone about that they've bought a Weir. It sort of comes with like a certain stigma attached to it, sort of thing. Like, oh, these are great. They're superior.
Sort of like the Pro Pack, the Vito Pro Pack.
That's
same
it,
attitude
exactly.
around it. Okay.
But I've got a Baco socket set side by side with the Weir. It does everything the Weir does, and it's probably 1/5 of the price. But I've still gone and bought a Weir one.
Yeah.
And why? Because I didn't actually need it. I've got probably everything in that other set, but I carry both now. Do you know what I mean? And I can't even tell you why. I think it's sort of a psychological
It does. I'm really looking forward to so we're obviously going to do this with a bunch of electricians on the show. Our next show will be with electricians, and I'm really interested to see what they bring out the bags, because I'll be really honest, I wasn't actually expecting any of you to bring Weehar out your bags, considering being engineers. You mentioned price point. I like this question, because I think what we want to do is, as part of Tool Talk and Expert Trade, someone new into the trade, we're trying to guide them on the best products to buy. You come into the trade today, what set of screwdrivers are you buying?
Them. The red and yellow ones, the Weir ones.
The Weir set that you found in Screwfix,
Yeah.
that's what you
Pretty
recommend?
much. Yeah, I'd probably get the slimline one rather the, just because it goes, if you're doing it into a terminal, you don't have that kind of shoulder around the bottom there. It's all slimmed in, but obviously that does mean that they thin out the metal on the inside, so that the plastic sheathing doesn't be thicker.
Yeah.
I know it's really bad grammar.
Glad you said that.
I'm just glad we got it on camera, mate. That's all. So you'd recommend them?
100%, yeah, they're the best for me.
Me personally, I just sort of echoing what Dave just said, I wouldn't get one with this sheathing. Because again, like it comes to terminal, I fit backsies, the wire internals are absolutely tiny on them.
Yeah.
Trying to get the screwdriver into the terminal is really tight. So I'd rather one that was just full metal shaft, which didn't have this sheathing on it, just to make it a bit easier to get into the actual hole.
Okay.
So I'd probably move towards something like that, or what he's got on his table there.
Yeah.
But brand, I'm not generally fussed about. I think a screwdriver for me is a screwdriver.
Yeah, same.
They all do a certain job, but yeah, it would be probably out of Weir or Weehar.
Disagree.
Love the fact that I can see that slow head shake coming across from Dave.
No, I don't agree with
Talk
that
to
at all. I've had some shit screwdrivers. So
yeah, you
so
get
you
your
can't say-
Drapers
you
out
can't
of being
yeah,
few.
so you
you
can't
know
say
what I mean?
they're all the same. But you're not getting me away from Weir at all. I think for me they're up there.
And is that because of the quality, the function, the brand? Like, I know you probably want to say all the above, but what is it about Weir that you think makes it go, actually, you're not budging me?
Marketing.
Marketing?
Big part of it, but quality. So that's the set I've got in my bag at the moment. I've had for I don't know how long.
No, how much do you know how much you paid for that set?
Not off the top of my head.
No.
But I've got one broken screwdriver out of that set, and I didn't break it. Someone else broke it. So it's lasted. It's quality.
Nice.
Yeah.
Super interesting one for me. I think if someone's watching this right now, the 2 brands that we're hearing are Weehar and Weir. Haven't heard anything else. For me, ending that segment, I'd be really interested. Put in the comments, what screwdriver are you using? We're going to move on to the next segment of the show. And that brings us to the final segment of the first ever episode of Tool Talk TV. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am hosting it. This is an interesting one for us. What we haven't done is told these guys which tool to bring. Everything else we've said, bring an analyzer, bring a pipe slice, bring a screwdriver. You've seen the show. This is where we want these trades to bring a tool that they simply cannot live without. And we're going to open it up with, why not, Mr. Dave.
So predictable.
Sorry, Dave.
So predictable.
Dave, what have you brought with you?
So the one tool you can't be without is actually your tool bag.
Nice.
So I've tried many different toolboxes, tote trays, other tool bags, and I've come back to this one. Something did fail on it, and that was the strap, so I've replaced it with a far superior one.
Is that a monument one?
Do you just want to tell people what brand you're looking at right now?
Sorry, so this is a Stanley Fat Max bag. The benefits for me, it opens up like that, so you can see.
I'm not an engineer. Why does that matter to you?
I think it gives it a bit more
Stability, innit?
stability when you're.
Okay, so just when you get tools out of the bag. Okay.
Yeah, and then both sides, these sides come right down, so you can get it right in there and pick out whatever it is you're looking for. Loads of different.
Can you just spin that around so the camera can see inside?
Loads of different size pockets inside, so you can fit like your long screwdrivers in. Smaller spanners go down the bottom, and there's a bit of a space at the bottom as well, so pipe slices and things like that can slot in.
Looks heavy.
It's because I've got decent tools. It's not that heavy.
Give it a lift. Give it a lift.
Lee,
Give it a lift. Do you find that heavy?
No, it looks heavy though. Do you know? It looks bulky. That's what it's like. Heavy is good. Heavy is reliable. Oh, Boris is back again.
Personally, I think it's quite compact compared to some other bags.
What other bags have you tried?
So I've actually got a Vito Pro Pack, which, if you know what that is quite an expensive tool bag.
Yep.
At the moment, that's just laying in the back of the van empty.
Can't you just ask what one is a Pro Pack? Is that similar in size?
Yeah, very similar. But they've got the handle on top.
Yeah, and the strap.
Yeah. But I don't know, I just come back to this. I think with this over other ones, you've got a bit of flexibility with this, so you can stuff parts in the top. Some of the other bags I've used the Monument one.
Yep.
Thought it was a good bag, but it was too big, too bulky. The pockets weren't quite right for me. They were big and baggy pockets inside, so tools were falling over. This just keeps everything in its place. Sometimes I think they're probably too tight, the pockets, but at least you know where everything is. This is probably the second or third one I've had over the years.
Okay.
It's just one I'll come back to.
Guys, what do you think?
I've had one. Fantastic bag.
Okay.
I don't have one at the minute because I'm in the middle of using the Monument Masters one. Totally agree, it's massive. That's just that little bit more compact. It's got the slightly tighter sections inside, and if you've got a big socket set, obviously you've got things like that where you can organise on the flat where things go.
Yep.
That bag is absolutely fantastic, and if I'm going to buy another one, I'll definitely buy another one then because they're just brilliant.
And is that like, and again, don't know, obviously you guys do different jobs, is that like your day-to-day or your service bag, or just covers everything?
I use this is everything for me.
Yeah.
I only have one tool bag, so that's service, breakdown, install, pretty much. I've got another tool tray, but most everything I need is in there. It's got the plastic sides on the bottom, gives it strength. The zips haven't failed.
Keeps it watertight as well because you've got a full plastic base.
True.
If you're outside, something like that.
Nice.
This gets thrown around.
Yeah.
And it's
They last, don't they?
Yeah. It could probably, the thing I think it's missing is probably a couple of pockets on the side.
Yeah.
So like LDF bottles and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to know about that before we move on?
No, it's a good bag.
Of course.
About 40 quid.
Yeah,
They're
40
quite
quid, I was
cheap,
gonna
really,
say.
for what they are.
So about a third of what a sort of basic Vito is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
easy,
yeah.
easy.
Okay.
A lot cheaper than that.
Nice,
yeah.
Dave. If you took that, keep it in shot, but if you took that over there somewhere, so we can get Mr. Dave Boyson, what tool have you got?
Well, I got a beautiful little kit. So I'm going to start by saying I actually have two bags. So I have a main install and repair bag, and I have a service bag. So if I know I'm just going in to do Flue Gas Analyzing on a service, I have this. I have my little adjustable spanner in my pocket. I have set screwdrivers. Everything is in here that I could possibly need to service.
Can you just tell people what
Any
that is,
boiler
what
is.
brand it is, and
So
what it's called?
this is a Weira Tool Check Plus. So you get your two options, one with or without the little screwdriver holder. I think you just must screw off.
Okay.
You can buy it with or without it. If you don't want it, you don't have it. The only thing it doesn't have, which I have separate, is a long like holder for your screws. So same as this, but just a longer version, just a standard extension. Yeah. Because I leave the ratchet bit in there, which is for all the ratchet bits, and then for if I'm actually using it as a screwdriver or want to use it just in a longer section, I just have a longer section, just because it doesn't fit on there. All falls out just like that. It's just fantastic because it's got everything in it. It's got all your Allen key bits, all your star torque bits. As you can see, I've lost a few little bits as time's gone on.
But what does that replace? That feels like there's a lot in there. Have you guys got this? Do you guys use something similar?
I've got one.
Have you seen this before? You've got one of these?
I've got one, love it. What it's replaced is
Yeah.
I used to carry around a socket set and a small screwdriver set.
So there's a ratchet set, which you can either use for, so for example, just a 10mm nut. You would pop that on there, and then obviously if I have my extension to make it longer for more torque, or small purchase, or obviously you can have it short if you need it short for small places. The other good thing actually I really do like about it is a lot of ratchets you have to put something on it
To put
to
the bit
get
in
to
it.
something.
Yeah.
Whereas this, if you need to be short, you can get very, very short.
That's a really good
you can put the
addition.
bit
that,
straight
yeah.
You
in.
put the
Yeah.
bit straight
Okay.
in the unit rather than needing the extension bit. So a lot of them, that would be like a
Valent gas valve would be good for that. wouldn't
exactly.
it?
That's
So
exactly what it's
sideways
for.
on.
You just have a little straight. You can
Okay.
just get straight in. Or if you've got something like underneath and you just can't get a screwdriver in it, or it's just you can't get enough purchase, you can make it really short and just get that little bit to crack the nut if it's been under a boiler, or maybe a brass nut or a brass screw that's just a little bit of water on it, something like that.
Like
a
it.
leak or whatever. You just get that extra bit of purchase on such a short head. You still get a good.
It's obviously a
good amount
brand
of
that you
torque.
love over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Have you got one of these, Lee?
I've got the same set.
Oh, you've
Yeah.
all three got this
The
set?
one thing I would mention is the cost. I don't know.
I think it was about 80 quid.
Yeah.
It wasn't cheap.
Okay.
For what it is, like you said, you can get the backhoe one for probably get a
Yeah,
little
the
socket for a
smaller
tenner.
version of the backhoe one is about 20 quid.
Yeah,
Okay.
20.
And it's
Yeah.
got everything on there in it apart from the screwdriver handle.
Screwdriver head, yeah. And I think the difference is about a tenner with and without that. So considering what that is, it's expensive, but I wouldn't be without it either.
Again, that question, someone new into the industry, do you recommend they get the Barco set for the money, or do you reckon they save up to buy that?
If they can afford it, get that.
Yeah,
Get that.
100%.
I agree, but then to spin it, I've had my Barco set probably about 7 years now.
Okay.
Everything's still in it. Still does the same job. I just bought that because I like the look of it. And again, I do think it's a whole Weir marketing thing. I thought it didn't need to buy it,
Yeah.
but I like it, and I actually use both. So, you know.
Yeah, and I won't be without this because I've got both, and the other one's just kicking about in my garage somewhere.
Yeah.
That got thrown to a side. The minute I got this, that was just thrown to a side. Just the little things like that's the button to pop it out. Their own logo is the button.
I think even down to even the bits, the screwdriver bits are really good quality.
Yeah,
they don't break.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The
I
only
agree.
reason there's some missing there is because I've lost them. Or they're kicking
I
about in
assume,
the
I
bag.
assume they didn't come like that, don't worry.
Yeah, but I'd replace
quiet
them
it.
with like flake. I would go online and I would buy some more of them because they've been great quality.
Nice.
The quality means a lot.
I keep
Apart from-
seeing you drop stuff. Is
Yeah.
that a problem with this kit? Like,
I think it's a problem
is it a
with
problem
Dave.
with
But
Dave?
with me, just you don't normally fling it about like this.
No,
To be
fair
fair, no.
Cool. Awesome bit of kit. Lee, what have you bought with you, mate?
Mine's slightly different. It's not something I can't live without. It's not something I use every single day. But the day I got it, I thought, how have I not had this before?
Okay.
So mine's actually a Fleur thermal imaging camera that plugs into your iPhone. So really good for good on power flushing, stuff like that.
Can I interrupt? Was that available in an Apple store for a while?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
I don't know why I've seen
slightly
it before.
dearer on there. I think I bought mine.
FLIR.
FLIR, that's it,
Yeah,
yeah. Fleur,
okay.
Fleur Pro 1, I think this is called. Yeah, Fleur 1.
Okay.
For iPhone, you can get them for Android as well. They do, obviously, a more advanced model, which is like a handheld one with a screen, which is probably 5 times the price at least, as a
Okay.
minimum. But really ultra sensitive. I've actually seen one of them on a Wiesmann training day. The guy put his hand on the table, took it off, and you could see his handprint.
With this one.
Not with this one, with the handheld device.
Oh, right,
That's
sorry.
how sensitive they are.
Okay.
Right.
Really good for tracing pipework under screed and stuff like that. This, you can see pipework, depending on obviously how thick the screed is, how far it's buried. But for me, it's more for, you go to a rad that's not working, you plug this in sort of thing, turn it on, and it gives you a visual within sort of 10 seconds. You can see where the heat is, if it's stuck, if it's going through it. And what it automatically does, I'll just show you. Because you've downloaded the app, you then get, if I can bloody find it, a Fleur separate album automatically downloaded into your iPhone. So I can just show you on the screen there. They're like the Fleur pictures I've
Point
taken.
to the camera for a little bit longer so I can grab it.
Yeah.
So that's like a folder.
And
on
if
your
I just
iPhone.
show you for the untrained eye, for example, this is a rad that's really not heating up very well. You see it's darker at the bottom because it's cold at the bottom.
Yep.
The brighter the yellow, the hotter it is.
Okay.
And it actually gives you a temperature as well. If you put the temperature setting on, it will put like a axis on the rad. Wherever you're pointing it, it'll tell you like a rough temperature. So on there, it's pointing at the dark bit, it says 29.8 degrees.
So you said when you got that out, you went, I don't know how I've lived without it. What is that helping you do on a day-to-day basis now? Because you obviously did your day job without it before. What's it doing differently for you now?
Diagnosing, like it's good for visuals for customers, for example. So you go and flush a system,
Yeah.
they can see the results. Because
Makes
I
sense.
take a picture
Yeah,
of all the
okay.
radiators first, and there'll be a big black upside down U in the picture where
Yeah.
it's actually heavily sludged up. And then if you go around afterwards and show them that, you can see the difference in the flush. They've got their money's worth. They can see the radiator working rather than just feeling it. So it's a really good visual.
How much was it?
This was about £180.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you guys got one, used it, thought about it? You've got one,
one.
Dave?
I haven't got one, no. I wasn't sure how good they was going to be for the money. Because obviously, I've always wanted one. They're a great idea to have. And I've always looked at the handheld ones. And when they start at like 500 quid for something that's actually worth buying, it's a lot to invest for the odd, maybe 2 or 3 times you might do a power flush.
Okay.
I've looked into these, but I'd never actually seen one going.
Yeah.
It looks like it works better than I
You
expected
say with
it to.
it's not just for after a power flush. This is to tell them you can show them what's
Yeah.
wrong with the rad. Whereas if you just go and say it's cold at the bottom, that's full up with the dirt, they're thinking they might not quite believe you. You show them in a picture,
good sales
you can
tool.
see the dirt.
Sales tool.
And then you can actually show them that it's gone after.
Yeah.
And there's some really good videos online of people who've used them where they're showing the heat come through as they're working on the rad with a rad hammer.
Okay.
So you can see it all sludged up, it's purple, and it's like one of them time-lapse videos with his rad hammer while he's flushing, and you can actually see it turning yellow. And it's like, for me, that's brilliant. Like, I think if you're in like the leak detection game, for example, or do a lot of underfloor, then upgrade and get the handheld because you can see underfloor really well. It separates it really well. It's really clear and prominent in the picture.
Concrete, they're not so great.
That's
Wooden
it. Depending
floors,
how deep the
they're not,
screen
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
you can't see it as well. But for 180 quid, I didn't buy it for that. Do you know? I generally didn't. If I was, like I say, doing a lot of underfloor heating, you go where this room's not heating up properly, get the handheld on, bang it, see it, and you can actually see the loops in the floor. So, yeah, for a small starter version, absolutely brilliant, and it's a real good tool just to have for like proving systems to people and stuff like that.
Like it, really cool bit of kit. Guys, I want to wrap this segment up with a question to all three of you, okay? So Dave, if you had to pick one, take your own out of it, if you had to pick one of those two to leave with today, what are you going to pick?
You know I've looked good today,
Take,
Dave.
take the price off the table.
Oh, okay,
So
take
what's
the
going
price
to
off
add
the
the most
table.
utility and help you?
Definitely
in
the
it?
bag. There's not even a choice about it. I've had it before and I would buy one. I'm actually, my monument bag's on its way out a little bit. And when it does, or if it does, or whatever, I would buy a new bag and it will be that bag, to be quite honest with you.
Appreciate it. Lee, out of the two, what are you going to get?
To be honest, I've got that.
Yep.
So but even still, if that wasn't on the table, I'd prefer my Vito to that. So yeah, I would still go with that if I didn't have that. If that makes sense.
Appreciate it. Dave, out of these two, interesting one for me to find out.
Be the Weir set.
Be the Weir set.
Only because I've got
I've just said I don't like your bag. That's why.
and that. The Fleur camera's great. I just don't use it often enough. I use that loads.
Day to day.
Yeah.
Cool. So guys, that brings us to the end of that segment where these guys have brought in their own tools. Comment below, what is the one tool that you cannot live without? Thanks for watching this episode of Tool Talk TV. Don't forget to press that subscribe button, and just above me there's a bell. If you press that, you'll get notified every time we launch a new episode or a new segment. Tooltalk.com is the fastest growing review website for trade professionals. If you're thinking about buying a new tool, head over to tooltalk.com to see what other trade professionals just like you think about it first. See you next time.